Okay, so looking at some questions on this, and number 13 is one of them. I'm just curious what happens with 14. I think it really is what we have to do today. So I don't think 14 is solvable, but let's see if that's true. Doing 13, when you FOIL, the middle term falls out, and then you add 16 and square root both sides. By the way, um, you guys on Tuesday, I don't get to see you. Isn't that correct? You guys know the schedule? Okay, so we are having a quiz Wednesday. It pretty much is everything up till today. So, what we've done this week plus today. Little added thing on Monday, and then I think I'm going to make a worksheet where just that little added thing will be a section, and then it'll be a section of just solve, and then you have to choose what's the best and most efficient method. So I'm going to show you a formula today called the quadratic formula. It is by far not the most efficient method. So if you do every question with the quadratic formula, you might run out of time. And I just want you to understand that. This one, whenever you have the option to solve by square roots, you use it. This is the most efficient method if it's allowed to be used. There's only very specific cases. So I want you to be aware of that and think about that. How a typical math class goes, we spend one day on one kind of item. And then when it comes to the test, you got to have your files organized. Which method should I use? That really is a math class overall, what happens. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. I did say that to the other hour. I decided to say that with you right now. And then I do have one more mistake. What should I put in front of this answer? Plus minus. So I didn't write that yet. And then square root of 4 is 2. All right, I'm just curious what happens with 14, like I said before. Oh, come on, this program. You're a saboteur. This program, just the worst. Can't stand it. Seriously, come on. Where are we at? Thank you. Samulus fighting computers. Better, I guess, than fighting students out in the hall. You guys hear stuff? Get rumors? I wasn't fighting, but I took one in the eye. That was great. Yes, it's on the video. How many people go to work and get punched in the eye? Not many. All right. Hopefully that hooligan never walks in this building again, but we'll see. 7x times 7x is 49x squared, and then 35x and 35x is 70x. And then 5 times 5 is 25. And then you subtract 10. I really don't think this is factorable. Did anyone come up with? Is it factorable? Is it?
I did it a different way. I did 7x plus 5 squared.
Oh, right. I'm a moron. All right. So if I did that, you're right. Okay. So if I do that, that would have to be now the quadratic formula after this. But you're right. I'm a maroon. You can make this 7x plus 5 squared. Thanks, program. Look at this. I can't even write a parenthesis because it's a jerk. This program's a jerk. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it inanimate object, something that doesn't even have a form, a jerk. Anyway, yes, you do that, and then you square root both sides. I'd rather be punched in the eye like once a year than have to deal with this program. It really would. It's the worst program I've ever used to take notes on a computer. Okay, I'm done. Maybe. All right, subtract 5 and divide by 7. Minus 5 plus or minus root 10 all over 7, right? Okay, so good call. Thank you. Because I don't know why I was just like thinking of FOIL. So it's weird. 13 you have to FOIL and subtract and then square root because the middle term falls out. Whereas 14 you got to write it as something squared and square root. So okay, turn that in. And then as you're turning it in, I'm going to keep the video going. We did something different last year. That was all work from a previous worksheet. I'm going to go get a drink of water. And then I got some stamping to catch up on, so hopefully we can take care of that. It had my desk clear, at least of your stuff. I did record your homework. This drives me nuts. I think I complained about this before. Drives me nuts that I'm forced, although I've heard some other math teams or math, like Math 3 regular, I heard they are now on a point system, which actually drives me nuts because I was forced against my will to do categories for grades. So you know what happens, right? The first homework that you turned in at the beginning of the year, the first homework assignments, if you got a 24 out of 24, bam, you got a great homework grade. Now what's the only thing that can happen with your grade? It can only go what? Down. It's so stupid. So now when I plug in your next homework that's perfect, your grade doesn't even move. And I really hate that. That mathematically, that just doesn't work with me. But knowing that another team did this, I may change it next semester because I think there is value that says, okay, I have an 88, I got an 89 on the next test, but I got a 24 out of 24 on the homework. And when I see that 24 out of 24 go in, my grade actually goes up, which makes sense to most people. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? I can't stand it. And I think non-mathematical people in this school forced that rule because they can't figure out how to get the points to equal, a certain percentage where the test is around 80% and the homework's around 20. So there's a lot of things that drive me nuts here, and that is definitely one of them. So I'm going to work on changing that. Heck, I should just say I'm towards the end of my career. I'm just going to do it anyway, and then someone can come get me, and I don't give a crap. Oh, am I in a mood today? All right, let's go. All right, so in order to do the quadratic formula, you got to be able to simplify something like this. So we'll start with the bell work. With that, feel free to show this video to whoever you want. It's the kind of teacher you have in this room. All right. So we have to be able to simplify this. So here's what I would do. I would go off to the side. Mr. Sanos is a jerk. He didn't let me have a calculator. All right. Well, at least I can do this. I know 2 goes into this. Then do some old school division, but you really shouldn't have to. Because 2 times 9 is 18. So 2 times 90 is 180. Oh, I'm close. I'm 4 away. So now 2 times 90, 2 times 88. There we go. Take 2 away from that, and then 2 times 2 is 4. There's the subtraction of 4. This is mental math. Oh, and then 88? Come on. That's 8 times 11. Know your divisibility by 11 rule. Know your times table. Hey, everybody, what's 2 times 8? This is how I do that. I identify the biggest perfect square that exists in the product. No matter how big the tree is, I go back and then take the numbers and multiply them to get the biggest perfect square in that product, which is just a repeat of what I just said. And then everybody, what's the square root of 16? 4. I don't understand. Boy, last year we do have a square root simplifying chapter coming up. We're just trying to get the brass tacks of this. I already said that, repeat myself. Just the ability to handle these. But when we get more complicated with the square roots, boy, I remember last year was just a disaster. I don't understand how people don't get that the square root of 16 is 4. That comes out because that's what the square root of 16 is. And then 11 is stuck in jail. I get goofballs switching these, and 11's out and 4's in, and I don't know what's going on in the brain. We're not thinking rationally there. Just simplifying the process. I will tell you this. I'm going to go over it, and I don't care if this annoys and bores people. The next thing is not this, and I will get a whole bunch of people that actually do that. We'll get a whole bunch of people that just cancel 14 and 18. And what I'm going to tell you is what I told you before, that this is a 6 over 5 equals 2 error. What? What is he talking about? Didn't I write this before? Haven't I written this before on notes? I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to keep doing it until people stop making that error. And in my career for how many years now? I feel like it's 50. But it happens every year. First of all, isn't 6 5 plus 1? Is everything rational so far? Are we okay? Right? But then I can cancel these 5s, huh? Well, I could cancel these 5s only if this was true. Is this true? Yes or no? Heck no. It's even remotely close to being true. You know what variables are? You know what variables are? Well, we don't even have any variables here, but that's coming up in another chapter. But and I said that last hour. Variables are numbers too, but there's no variables in this, so that doesn't apply. But this does apply. This is a sum or a difference, and I can't take part of a sum and cancel it with another part. That is synonymous with a 6/5 = 2 error. You can't do that. But what you can do is one of two things. You could factor out a 2 out of the top and then cancel. Thanks, Pen. And now that 2 is free to cancel with that 18. Notice how the 2√11 is affected. That changed. Okay, so, or you can split this up into 2 separate fractions in your mind. Allowed. And then individually cancel. And in this case, it does end up being almost exactly the same as this, except 2 separate fractions, which is -7/9 plus or minus 2√11/9. Okay, separating it into 2 separate fractions. I call that reversing the common denominator thing. Usually you get a common denominator and add the numerators and put them over one denominator. Well, that means you can also split it up into 2 separate fractions. Okay, enough of that. Probably over explanation. What's the square root of a negative? 3, 2, 1. I. Okay, it's an I number. And then 56 stinks. No, it doesn't. 8 times 7 is 56. I'm thinking of a future one. Oh, and then 8's 4 times 2. So square root of 4 is perfect. So that means 2 times 7 is 14. So this is square root of a negative, square root of 4, square root of 14. That's how you break it down in your mind. You don't have to necessarily write it like I did there, but I do it for teaching purposes. Square root of a negative is I, square root of 4 is 2. Now this one's interesting if you do the 2 different ways. It looks different, but they are equivalents. Now, when you get good with this, and I hope you can do this fast. No, you can't take 8 in the 12 and then just cancel that. Well, what does everything have in common? What number? 2. So you can fastly, if I make up a word, simplify this if you understand the 6/5 = 2 error cannot happen. You can divide everything by 2, though, and it does simplify that way. Oh, did I do something wrong? Why is everyone raising their hand? Oh, I. Right, thank you. All right, I'm not perfect. Hey, I'm still a little woozy from the shot to the eye yesterday. I'm going to use that as an excuse all day long. I love it. All right. Or